Alright, what's up? We have a new chapter of Boku no Hero Academia. This one is chapter 227. It's called, somewhat ominously, Sleepy. And we continue with our League of Villains versus Meta Ability Liberation Army War arc, which at first I thought was going to be the Meta Liberation Army arc by itself, and then I thought would be the League of Villains backstories arc, and then I thought would be the Gigantomachia arc, and it's actually all of those things and more. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cold. So we have Toga again. We saw her backstory in the last chapter. Sitting on this cover page in the heap of broken toys and stuff. For some reason, what saddens me the most is in the bottom left, the kind of modern day Polaroid instant camera. I have such fond memories and associations of those things, you know, like a few of my friends have them, and it's one of those things you bring out on special occasions and take lovely pictures of you and all your friends. And here it is in this heap of trash, in this heap of broken things. And it kind of is her character in a nutshell, right? It's this brutal subversion of kind of all these schoolgirl pop culture tropes. But anyways, so she has collapsed in a shed, out of strength, arms will move, lost lots of blood, colors are fading. This is the same sensation. Again, I feel closer to them. So yes, in the end of the last chapter, we saw her transformation ability level up, such that she's not just able now to take on the appearance of those whose blood she drinks, but can actually use their quirks too, which is extremely powerful. And she used Aruka's quirk in a terrifying new way, in a way that Aruka herself could probably never even conceive of. So now she feels even closer to them, even closer to the ones she loves. There's no such thing as other people. In order to deviate a villain, whose fault is it really that she turned out this way? Society insists on conforming to the old ways of thinking while eliminating anyone who doesn't fit the mold. We as a species have moved beyond the very notion of normal. Curious, hope to communicate that messages to the masses via Toga. It's a fundamental truth. Okay, so his take, this is our kind of commander-in-chief of the Meta Liberation Army, is that the reporter lady that Toga was fighting against last chapter really was doing it for the good of Toga and the good of other people like Toga, whose quirks and whose personalities just cannot fit into society as we know it. So this is kind of compelling. Like, this is now sort of addressing questions that the heroes of this series, that the kind of heroic society doesn't really have answers to. And more, I'm excited for them to kind of go into these gray areas. Like, whose fault is it? Whose fault is it that Toga ended up like that? And beyond whose fault it is, who could have helped her? Who could have actually saved her and gotten her back on a less psychopathic, murdery path, right? It seems like those sort of resources aren't really that available in this world. When we saw the news stories and stuff about her, it was with this kind of distanced, alienating perspective where she's just like a monster, and there wasn't really any empathy towards her. There wasn't really a route forward besides just capturing her. And then, of course, by that point, she had already had pretty severe problems. There should have been something that happened even sooner. She's never been on the front line. She's a valuable resource. Each and every warrior dives into battle with hopes for the future. Life is so very precious. And here's their broker guy. We can see his hands are all bandaged up because his fingers have all been chopped off. He's looking a little worse for wear. This guy here with the hair over his eyes is the head of their technological division. Feel Good Inc. He kind of looks like a Gorilla's character too. It kind of looks like that same sort of, I don't know, kind of blocky. The teeth look kind of similar too. Anyways, Toga herself isn't exactly a good fit. The tragic lead of the narrative we're pushing. It's keeping you from asking properly, like, what do you mean by footage? Do you have too much pride? Wow, whoa, this is kind of crazy. This character is interesting to me already. Because what the broker guy here says is like perfectly in line with most manga dialogue, where they footage, what footage, but he's calling him out. Why don't you speak properly? Why don't you say what is this footage? What do you mean by footage? Can you think critically? Use your imaginations. Are your neurons taking a vacation? Sheesh. Surveillance cameras to the city are recording the battle. Excuse me. In the absence of heroes, these desperate townfolk are defending their homes from wicked villains. This is actually really genius. I did not even conceive of this level of their plan. That beyond just kind of wiping out the League of Villains, establishing themselves as a heroic movement, they put their theory into practice by saying people should be free to use their quirks. Individuals and civilians should be totally empowered and enabled to fight these battles themselves. And here's the proof. Here's the proof. These are some of the most dastardly terrorists that our world has seen strolling into this peaceful, normal, seemingly normal village. And everyone is here ready to rise up and drive them away. Like that is, in a nutshell, what they're trying to prove with their entire movement. I think things will change. You people are insane. Everyone else has gone mad. You certainly lack imagination. Without conviction, hearts and minds will not be moved. And we cut back to the lead of our orangutan gang of who even knows what to call them anymore. Shigaraki Tomura. Spinner as well. They're just trying to survive until Gigantomachia wakes up and follows them here and becomes not exactly their ally, but a gigantic chaotic force that will definitely support them overall. When we knock them down, they just keep coming. Single one out yet. Tragic news to report. Ah, yes. This is the Hearts and Minds Party. Their political front. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, that's disgusting. I'm so sorry. Maybe I'm too sick to read manga today. Oh, all right. Anyways, so in Japan, it's pretty common that campaigns will get themselves out there and try to drum up support by just driving a van around with loudspeakers attached to it, and someone just shouting into the loudspeaker the campaign promises and such. This is like a level of direct political action that we see in North America to varying extents, but usually it's like on kind of like a sliding scale of legitimacy. This is something that's near the bottom. But in Japan, my understanding is that even major political parties will have a presence with the van. They'll have their politicians out there shouting in the microphones and megaphones. I mean, it's exciting. Tragic news to report. Curious has fallen in battle. She gave her life to the liberation cause. And the people are going to get riled up further. Here we see the power of this political wing, that it's able to concretely turn the complicated events of all of these battles and all of these ideologies into direct, actionable requests. Don't let her sacrifice be in vain, he said. And he's serving as the mouthpiece here for the Grand Commander, who, of course, is off safe in his office building. Preacher gathering his flock. Isn't an army more like a religious sect? Told you there's money in religion. Yeah, that's certainly true. And here, this is an amazing shot. Look at this wave of people. Oh my gosh. And all of them with little quirky details doing their attack, or should I say meta ability details, I'm sorry. Wolfman and some guy going like this. Yeah, lots of fun. This guy has webbed hands. This guy is mostly water. They're all over the place. sleepy. When I get sleepy, stuff that's not moving comes to life. I start hearing things that aren't there. All this unnecessary input is total sensory overload. It's like my whole body's glitching. I know this feeling well. What now? Whoa, okay. There's a lot going on here. So Shigaraki, beyond just his general creepiness and the creepiness of his quirk, seems to have some sort of mental illness. That when he gets overstimulated, when he gets tired, when he's kind of on that border between dreaming and awake, he sees things, he hallucinates, he hears things. It's interesting. I feel like this is not a quality of him that we are meant to distance ourselves from, that we are meant to see as kind of hostile and creepy. This is more one where I think we're intended to empathize with him, that we're starting to see now, despite his kind of chaotic evil, I will just destroy everything I dislike philosophy, that all of the problems and tragedies in his life make him, if not blameless, then a little sympathetic, then a little understandable in doing what he does. And I really like this too. The what now? Another flashback, I guess. He's narrating his own flashback, like unwittingly, like not sure, not deliberately triggering this flashback. And we see here, I believe his little sister, maybe? This is someone that showed up in the previous flashback, which was also very fragmented and confusing, but oh, yes, that's right. That's right. Grandma is the previous inheritor of One for All. Nana. So here, I guess, this memory isn't in my head. All I can recall is the feeling. Why'd you show me this? When I recall this, I feel a weight coming off my chest, but why? What is it? Show me the whole flashback and not just bits and pieces, damn it. Is it got to be like a busted recording? Ah, that's really interesting. This is something I haven't really seen too much before that I think is a pretty cool technique of sort of breaking the fourth wall on the conventions of flashbacks. You know, the fragmented, just little clues at a time flashback is a hallmark of storytelling in so many genres and mediums. But to have the experiencer of the flashback be similarly limited as the viewer, normally it's that the experiencer of the flashback is just recalling specific details relevant to the moment, and the viewer understands that there's a more complete narrative in his head that we're not going to be privy to until the story kind of reveals it to us, right? That it's going to be left up to be a twist and a mystery. But here, Tomura himself is unable to recall more, and he's complaining about it. He's complaining in a very similar way than that readers often complain about when the flashbacks are insufficient and they just want to know the whole story. Why is it got to be like a busted recording? Oh man, that's pretty cool. I think that's really cool. Makes me so absolutely sick to my stomach. Awesomely sick to my stomach. Okay. He's kind of getting into some sort of flow state here, flinging himself up on the wall. This is really cool the way this is drawn, with this really kind of inky, flowing, almost like sumi-e. This is a spread. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, this is brutal. Holy hell. He just runs through them. Running up along the wall, that huge mass of people. Just these expressions of shock and horror as they see their comrades exploding into dust, and knowing that his hand is just going to pass right through them too. Whew! Oh Lord. Oh Lord, have mercy. That's pretty brutal. There's a lot more death in this arc than I expected. Just that I expect from the series in general. Like that Miss Curious, the news reporter, is just straight up dead. Is pretty surprising to me that they were willing to just straight up, all right, well, that's it for her. She lost. She's dead. And then all of these people that are just citizens, just normal people that have joined up with the Meta Liberation Army, but had been, up until this point, outside of probably some combat training, just been living totally normal lives with families and jobs and hobbies and friends, and now called into battle at last for this glorious cause, are being mowed down like flies. Like, this is insane. Like, seeing things just now, his decay effect spread to the people he wasn't even touching. Oh man, that's true. There's no way his one hand here could possibly be touching each and every one of these people. There's definitely some sort of rippling effect that if he touches someone that's touching someone, they both decay perhaps. Or now he just radiates an aura of decay. Oh, excuse me. And then here, you see he's drooling a lot. Not like the snot that fell out of my nose, but drool from his mouth. Could it somehow be that his saliva causes decay? And he's... I shouldn't do that when I'm this cold, this cold mode. Who knows what could have come out there. And then, yeah, he's just spitting on everyone. Is that possible? Dear leaders, wrapping up bodies that I'm going all into. Back and taking the pacifist route was never my style. Ooh, but who arrives here? This is interesting. Dabby just immediately gets a suitable opponent, a matchup that looks like he's like 10-0 in. Iceman. Well, just breathe fire all over him. Easy peasy. It's like pretty shocking and sudden. So it looks like he's got like gigantic ice gloves. You know, that's a pretty traditional ice power. I made a big fist and I'm going to punch you, but with ice. The juxtaposition here, I think, between Tomura's crazy mental illness, well, I shouldn't say crazy, that seems insensitive, but his brutal mental illness and this weird, disjointed, fourth wall breaking flashback, and his just terrifying and really unsympathetic the way he's just mowing down people power. Juxtaposing that, which is like very kind of nuanced and tragic, with this, where Dabby's like, yeah, I'm Fireman, I'm gonna fight Iceman. And it's just some guy in a parka that just like jumped down. It's really weird. This arc is like all over the map, tonally, in terms of what's being depicted. There's flashbacks, there's expounding on characters we haven't really seen much of yet. It's pretty crazy. I'm a big fan, I gotta say. I think being able to really experiment with the format and the content of your series this deep into it is really exciting and really speaks to the potential of this as a manga to go on for hundreds of chapters more. Like, we haven't seen any of our actual heroes in months now, right? That's crazy. That's crazy. There's not many series that can get away with doing that. Okay. Good. We will look forward to more next week. Please join me then.